Why are we defeating ourselves? Why are Igbos keeping silent? I'm calling on Igbo leaders to speak up. What are you afraid of? Second time, go to President Tinubu and tell him, Mr. President, what you are doing to our brother is wrong. Stop it. With the prosecution of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, simply because he's Igbo.
Part of the challenge we have in this court is that the Supreme Court had also ruled that there is nothing like Chapter 45 of Criminal Code, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being tried under that Chapter 45 that the Supreme Court has said does not exist. So, which law, which defense do you want him to put in a case where there is no written law?
Nnamdi Kanu is not running away from defense. Remember that he has already filed his witnesses, about how many of them? 23 of them.
Nnamdi Kanu still remains a prisoner of conscience. He's been detained unlawfully. And we are also using this medium to continually call on Mr. President.
Ndewonu ụmụnne m ndị Igbo ndị ọma njem ọnụ, ekelekwa m unu. Ebe nsi ewetara unu ozi a bụ n'ụlọ ozi ndị sim.si ha asịrị FM. Aka m bụkwa nwanne gị nwoke 042 Solex, onye akụkọ ụwa. Ihe onyonyo a ị na-ahụ n'iru ebe a bụ ihe onyonyo nke si na ụlọ ozi Federal High Court nke dị n'Abuja wepụta. Tata bụ mkpụrụ ụbọchị nke 4 nke ọnwa Nọvemba n'afọ 2025. Dịka nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu pụtara n'ụlọ ikpe ihe gbasara okwu ya na ndị gọọmenti etiti Naịjirịa. Ma n'ihe onyonyo a anyị ga-enyo anya na ya ugbu a, anyị ga-ahụ ka ya bụ ikpe si wee gaa tata, ma nụrụkwanụ okwu ole na ole si na ọnụ ndị ọkaiwu ya bụ his legal team. Ma tupu anyị eje ebe ahụ, ụfọdụ n'ime ihe ndị nke anyị nụrụ gara n'ime ụlọ ikpe tata bụ dịka onye ọkaikpe Justice James Omotosho batara n'ụlọ ikpe, okwu wee bido asị Nnamdi Kanu kedu ka o si wee kwado bịa. Nnamdi Kanu agwakwa ha otu ihe ahụ o kwurula n'izu gara aga, wee sị na ọ chọrọ ịma ebe si wee weta iwu niile eji wee jide ya ebe a, sị na ya kpara arụ, maka na ọ bụghị na ya agaghị agọrọ nwa isi onwe ya, mana na-ekwesịrị ịgwagodi ya kedu ka ya si wee daa iwu na ebe na-enweghị ihe were anya dịka iwu mmadụ dara ada, kedu ka a ga-esi onye ahụ bịa gọrọwa isi onwe ya. Mgbe nke ahụ mechara, ya bụ onye ọkaikpe Justice Omotosho gwara Mazi Nnamdi Kanu si ya na naanị ohere o nwedebere iji wee malite ịgọrọwa isi onwe ya bụ nke a kpọrọ n'olu bekee the deadline to enter his defense bụ echi, bụ ụbọchị Wednesday, bụ mkpụrụ ụbọchị nke 5 nke ọnwa Nọvemba n'afọ 2025. O wee sị ya na ọ bụrụ na ha pụta echi ma ọ dịghị nkwadebe ịmalite wee gọrọwa isi onwe ya na ya bụ okwu, na ihe ndị ụlọ ikpe ga-ewere ya bụ na ọ chọghị ịgọrọ isi onwe ya na ihe ndị gọọmenti etiti Naịjirịa na ihe ndị DSS kwuru n'isi ya na o kwere ekwe. N'aka nke ọzọ, dịka esi na ya bụ ụlọ ikpe pụta, ndị ọkaiwu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu bụ his legal team gwara ndị nta akụkọ na ọhaneze okwu ebe ọ nọ wee wee anya, dịka ha siri wee kwuo n'ihe onyonyo anyị ga-enyo anya na ya ebe a. Ha na-akọwasị na okwu a, ikpe a anaghị ekpe na ụlọikpe Federal High Court, na o doola anya na ọ bụghị ikpe ndị ụlọikpe ga-ekpenwu ma mee ka o bie, kama na okwu a bụ okwu kwesịrị na ọ bụ onye isi ala obodo Naịjirịa na ndị ọnụ na-eru n'okwu na ya bụ obodo Naịjirịa bụ ndị ga-etinye ọnụ n'okwu a ma mee ka ya bụ okwu bee, site na ịkpọ ndị ọkaikpe ndị ya bụ okwu nọ n'aka ka ha kwụsị ikpe ọbụla gbasara ya bụ nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, dịka o siri wee sụọ ya n'olu bekee. Ọ sị that the case is now obviously more political than judicial. Ogologo kwa dị mmanụ ka mgbede, ya mere buru oche gị kpụdobe nso ma nọrọ ala ka anyị anya na ya bụ ihe onyonyo, ma nụrụ n'olu ha bụ ndị ọkaiwu, ma hụkwanụ ka ya bụ okwu si wee gaa n'ụlọ ikpe Federal High Court tata. Ya mere asịla na Solex si kama lere onyonyo ya.
First thing first, you understand that you are no longer a candidate.
No.
So
We remain as consultants to him and as his brothers, embracing counsel.
okay, based on today's proceedings, what did you observe and what is the way?
Well, my observation is that let's keep in mind that 14th October this year made it 10 years that this case has been pending. That the matter has become too complicated for the judiciary to handle underscores our core point
that this matter is more political than legal. That this is a matter for the executive branch to settle with a political sleight of hand. It's not a matter to be offered to the limited wiggle room of a court of law, of the judicial. There is a lot of wide back, a lot of wide space left for politicians or political leaders of this country to resolve political issues that border on agitation. Why this one has become intractable is very, very, very disappointing. There's a thesis that has become intractable because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man. That thesis is becoming more and more valid by the day. So what is playing out in court now is nothing but the best evidence that this matter has gone beyond the province of judiciary and should be taken back, by the executive branch that started it anyway. There is no trial without prosecution. So it's the executive branch, the president, that triggered this through the office of the Attorney General. So the president can direct the Attorney General to take the case back to the table to see whether it should be resolved politically. But to try to resolve this case before the courts is becoming more and more impossible every day.
Is this a call for political intervention on this case?
Well, of course, everybody is calling for that. It's not throwing in the towel. What is wrong with calling with reconciliation when the courts of the land actually recognize it as well? Check out Section 17 of Federal High Court Act. It called on judges to seek reconciliation between litigants before them, including criminal cases. Section 174 of the Constitution empowered the Attorney General of the Federation to discontinue criminal prosecutions. So why should anybody say this matter should be resolved in courts when we have an alternative route of resolving it politically that appears to be easier and that would appear to be pleasing to everybody?
Okay, let's talk about
The procedure today?
the proceedings today.
Okay.
What next?
I will yield to one of my colleagues to discuss that. By Sama Square of Bara will proceed.
Okay, actually, it's good for us to put the record straight. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not saying that he will not enter defense. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, under what law are you charging him? Going by the Constitution, there is no charge against him. That tell me the law. That the court should tell me the law upon which he's being tried. Now, my lord is on so saying that whatever thing that you have to say should be ruled at the final written address, and it should be upon a conviction to know whether they're supposed to be convicted or not. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said no. There are thresholds, there are hurdles upon which you need to cross, you need to reach that particular issue. And one fundamental issue there is that my law said we are talking about issue of extraordinary rendition, the way we have been brought back from Kenya to Nigeria. And he wants somebody to come and give evidence on that. There is nothing before him. And if you watch the motion of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu file, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, Federal High Court has given a judgment in respect of that, and also awarded 500 million naira against federal government in his favor. That judgment is in the court file. Court of Appeal, in their judgment, also gave ruling on that and made comment about that. CTC of that judgment is in the court file. Supreme Court, in their judgment, also took judicial notice of that and they condemned that attitude. They are all in court file. There was a motion challenging the decision of the court where these issues are being raised, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made reference of the motion in the court file. Yes. And under the Evidence Act, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying that under the law, court is obliged, is under obligation to take judicial notice of every document in your file. Yes. So asking him now to go and enter into a defense and start giving evidence on that is a waste of time. Yes. That court is on its own supposed to take so much to raise this issue. Yeah. Court is expected to raise this issue. Now there is a charge before me. Please, under what law? Address me on this issue before I go into trial. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu filed a motion, and I think that motion, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that motion should be heard, and all this issue I raised should be tracked for me to go into trial. trial. So and we're into defense. So my law can maintain his position on that. So my law said that he has run to tomorrow for him to get that defense. Just like we said, you know, we are no longer into the matter, but we are still consulting us. I am saying so on handling his matter in court, he felt that he's competent to do that. So whatever advice he needs from us as his lawyer, we should also offer the legal advice just to get the record straight so that people will not say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu refused to enter defense. No, there is no such issue. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, address me on this issue. Okay, that's
the honorable member here would like to say.
Well, my name is Right Honorable Oge Akụkọ Ụwa. I represent the great people of Iguano, Umuahia North and Umuahia South for the constituency of Abia State. I represent Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. From what I saw today in court, there seems to be a systemic effort being put in place to steamroll and railroad Mazi Nnamdi Kanu into putting up a defense and leading to conviction. There are procedural issues that must be heard before the matter can go forward. And I think that is the motion that must be heard, hopefully by tomorrow. Nnamdi Kanu still remains a prisoner of conscience. He's been detained unlawfully. And we are also using this medium to continually call on Mr. President to invoke Section 174 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended for the Attorney General to enter a notice rescue, at least before the determination of the court. We are very optimistic that Mr. President that we know is a listening and attentive president, and that he will do the right thing in the shortest possible time. Thank you. Thank you.
All freedom lovers, we greet you. In today's proceedings, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continues to defend himself against the charges brought by the federal government of Nigeria bordering on terrorism and membership of IPOB. Today is unique because today he interrogated the court and the prosecution and charged them to prove to him or to show him what law he is alleged to have contravened. You know, this is Nigeria. We practice what we call written laws. If the laws are not made or written by the National Assembly, then they are not in existence. And if the laws have been repealed, of course, repealing means cancel. If a law is repealed, it means that law is no longer existing. Now, if a law has been repealed, according to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he cannot be asked to stand trial on those laws. And he has asked them to show him the law under which he is tried. And it is for the court and the prosecution to say, you are tried under section so and so of this law. And if you do that, you will now check whether those laws are still existent in Nigeria. If they are not existent in Nigeria, then it means the young man may actually be correct to say that there is no charge against him. Of course, knowing that there is no law existing such as the ones we are furnished with. Part of the challenge we have in this court is that the Supreme Court had also ruled that there is nothing like Chapter 45 of Criminal Code. There is nothing like Chapter 45 of covering on Criminal Code. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being tried under that Chapter 45 that the Supreme Court has said does not exist. So which law, which defense do you want him to put in a case where there is no written law? For one, I don't know how to even defend or interpret such. If the law is not existing, the best thing is to strike out the charge and let the young man go home. And that is why he told them, how can you detain me for over 3-4 years when the law is not existing? When the law has been repealed, when the law has been cancelled? How can you detain me for 3-4 years when there is no law like Chapter 45 of the Criminal Code? So he is challenging the judiciary, he is challenging the Nigerian authorities, he is challenging all well-meaning and all well-thinking Nigerians to find out, to ask, to raise the issue and find out whether in this country the laws have changed to such that you cannot try people when there is no law in place. Can you try people when there is no written law? If you ask me to enter a defense, is it enough for me to defend a written law that I may have breached? If you say I breached section 2 million, and there is nothing like section 2 million anywhere in this world. For goodness sake, are you not jeopardizing my right to fair hearing when you ask me to defend myself against section 2 million when section 2 million does not exist? That is the simple question Mazi Nnamdi Kanu posed today. And unfortunately or incidentally, the court ruled that it will not answer that question now, but will answer it at the end of trial. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying, how can you try me when there is no law? You must first of all cross the hurdle by bringing up the law that I preach. Then you cannot try me under those laws. If you cannot try me, if you want to try me under a law that does not exist, then it is a breach of my fundamental human rights. So that is as simple as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu put it today in black and white. And he relies heavily on section 35 or 36, subsection 12 of our constitution. Thank you.
Well, anyway, I'll just say a few words. There is this saying amongst lawyers generally that a goat was running, and when the dog saw the goat, the dog also started running. Well, the fowl observed what was going on and asked the dog, "Why are you running? It is the goat that they are chasing." The dog said to the fowl, "In this country, Nigeria, if they are chasing a goat and you are a dog, you don't run, if they catch you as a dog, before you prove that you are not a goat, you will take 10 years to 20 years. This appears to be what is happening to our brother Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I don't speak as of counsel, I speak as of his brother, as a fellow Igbo man, and as a Nigerian, to strongly condemn what is going on. This has been going on since October 2015. You have a man on trial since October 2015. That's over 10 years ago. And out of these 10 years, you detained him for almost 6 years. And you still have him on trial. What does that tell you? It tells you the story of the dog and the goat. It's taking him 10 years to prove what, or to disprove what? Or 10 years for the judiciary of Nigeria to find him guilty of what? Guilty of self-determination? Guilty of making a broadcast from Kenya or from UK? What are we here for? What are we talking about? Why are we defeating ourselves? Why are Igbos keeping silent? I'm calling on Igbo leaders to speak up. What are you afraid of? Second term or what? Go to President Tinubu and tell him, Mr. President, what you are doing to our brother is wrong. Stop it. You have stopped it in other instances, in other cases. You stopped the prosecution of Iwo. You stopped the prosecution of Showore. You stopped the prosecution of the secretary or chairman of Mietiala. Why are you pushing ahead with the prosecution of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Simply because it's Igbo? Why are you doing that? You should stop it. They have the power. Well, the blame, you can lay some blame on the judiciary, but in this very case, the buck stops at the president's table. The blame must be laid where it should be laid. The court cannot activate any trial without prosecution. This prosecution has hit a gridlock. You should stop. And if they have issues with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they should call him to the table and settle those issues. And the issues are clear anyway. It's self-determination, that is all. Every other thing that is coming under that is trumped up, just to make it look like a case that is fit to be settled by the Nigerian judiciary. I'm here to tell you that it is not possible. It is not possible. It has become very, very clear. If anybody keeps insisting, the courts must settle it. Think of the person that stole your election, and the moment you open your mouth, he says go to court. Why are we insisting on the courts settling this matter? Is somebody contriving something in the courts? The politicians can settle it as well. Political leaders can settle this, and the number one that should settle this is Tinubu. He should not inherit Buhari's hatred of the Igbo. He shouldn't do it. He should abhor it and make his new friends or make his own enemies. But by all means, he should not inherit an enmity brought by Buhari in 2015 against the Igbo, of which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the poster boy. Thank you.
From Igbo Union, so taking it up from there, you see, the war is on Nigeria now, based on the American President Trump's threats. And if you watch in the court today, we have about 2 or 3 foreigners covering this event. I want to plead with Mr. President, please, this particular trial is embarrassing Nigeria.
Tell
tell me the law upon which you are trying me. Tell me the law upon which I violated. Now, he has filed a motion, and to clear this particular doubt, Nnamdi Kanu is not running away from defense. Remember that he has already filed his witnesses, about how many of them? 23 of them, to tell you that he was ready to enter into defense. But in law, if you see something that you're supposed to raise and you do not raise it, it may be seen as you waving it. And based on that, thank God that, of course, you will know that he's intelligent. You will know that he's a good reciter. So, based on the advice by his consultants, both foreign and local, and his own research, he discovered that there was not even law. Just like my colleague said. So he said, what am I entering into defense for? So that gave rise to the motion he filed. And in that motion, he raised a lot of issues. Now, my Lord said, please, you people talk about extraordinary rendition. And I want somebody to come and testify and need evidence towards that. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, no, you cannot need any other evidence. Where the law has mandated you to take judicial notice of every law, every judgment, every document in the court file. In that judgment in the court file, there is Court of Appeal judgment there. There is a Supreme Court judgment there. Right. There is a Federal High Court judgment there. There is Kenya Court judgment there. United Nations. All these judgments are in that court file. And the court is expected to take judicial notice of all those issues. And the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also file notice of preliminary objection. In that notice of preliminary objection, he also raised all these issues. And that was why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, my Lord, during your no case submission, ruling on no case submission, you failed to take judicial notice of all these issues. So I believe that without going into what is pending in court, I believe that my Lord will reconsider this particular motion, because my Lord said that I have seen the motion. When the prosecution said that the one he had was not stamped, my Lord said no, the one in the court was filed, was signed, and the court belief cannot serve you on stamp and unsigned document. I don't know where they got that one, but whatever that is the case, court has confirmed that it's in the court file. I believe that my Lord would have, nobody is above mistake, of course. In fact, court is not a court of know-it-all. Court is expected to raise issues where you are confused or something that you need to clarification. You ask, please, can you address me on this issue? I expected my Lord to say, this thing this guy is raising, can you people address me on it? Let us pass the hurdle. You can make your judgment in one way or the other. You are in one way or the other. I don't say so. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, I cannot. The law did not say I should enter defense. The law said that you should do this. So that is where we are, and I believe that just like Special Counsel said, the Igbos, Nigerians of good conscience, you people should rise. Like when the issue of June 12 came up, all of us in this country stood against it and worked against Abacha. Without finding that Abiola is involved, Abiola is not involved. We collectively fought against that. Why should that of Nnamdi Kanu everybody is running away? Probably because of one or two contracts you are getting, because of the mantle the president calling good person. The president is just like Buhari today. Buhari died in this country, and everybody was jubilating, including people of Daura. They were jubilating that Buhari died because of the bad legacy he left for himself and for his children. Mr. President, you are a Democrat, you fight for this democracy. Please, you know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu never committed anything. They arrested him so as to stop him from agitating. Please, release him and allow him to go with his agitation and dialogue.
Akụkirichala ya bụ ihe onyonyo. Dịka m si wee na-aghọta ihe a niile na-eme ugbu a site n'okwu onye ọkaiwu Aloy Ejimaka kwuru ebe a na okwu ndị ọkaiwu ndị ọzọ kwukwaranụ, o doro anya nke ọma bụ ihe a na-ekwu okwu ya na naanị ihe a ga-eji wee mezie okwu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu abụ political solution. Mana kedụkwanụ ka ya bụ political solution ga-esi adị ire ma ọ bụghị ma ndị niile ọnụ na-eru n'okwu n'ala Igbo tinyere ọnụ n'okwu a? Kedu ka onye isi ala obodo Naijiria bụ President Tinubu ga-esi ege ntị n'okwu a ma tọpụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ma ọ bụghị ma ndị ọnụ na-eru n'okwu ndị anyị kpọrọ ndị ọchịchị n'ala Igbo tinyere ọnụ na ya bụ okwu? ndị anyị kpọrọ ndị ọchịchị abụghị sọsọ ndị gọvanọ ma ndị sinetọ ma ndị House of Rep ma ndị ọhaneze ndị Igbo ma ndị eze na ndị igwe, ndị niile Igbo ji biri. O rukwalanụ, o teela aka anyị malitere tiwe mkpu a. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu kwuru ya sị, unu gwa ya n'akụkụ akwụkwọ iwu Naijiria ole ka ya nọ wee daa ya bụ iwu nke a sị na ya dara. In which part of Nigerian Constitution ka ha si wee weta iwu ahụ ha ji wee jide ya kamgbe afọ 4 gara aga? O nweghị onye chọrọ ịgwa ya nke ahụ. Ihe niile a mara bụ enter your defense, enter your defense. Ihe ọzọ na-agbazi mgagharị bụ amaghị m ebumnuche ndị a, dịka ya bụ nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Mazi Kanu kwurula na ọ chọrọ ka ndị ọkaiwu ya nọgodoro onwe ha ugbu a, na ọ chọghị ka ha kwuchitere ya n'okwu a ebe ya bụ okwu chere iru ugbu a, na ya chọrọ iji ọnụ ya wee kwuru onwe ya. Mana onye makwanụ ka ha bụ ndị ji ya si wee kwado, maka na kamgbe o kwuru ya bụ okwu na ọ chọrọ iji ọnụ ya wee kwuchitere onwe ya, anyị na-ahụ ihe na-aga. Ma ndị DSS ekweghịzi ka ndị ọkaiwu ya gaa leta ya. Onye ruo ebe ahụ ha sị ya na ebughịzi onye ọkaiwu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, na Mazi Nnamdi Kanu enweghịzi onye ọkaiwu, bụ nke anyị hụrụ ihe onyonyo nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Maswell Ọkpara zipụtara ụbọchị ole na ole gara aga. Ya bụ ihe wee na-abịazi wee na-enye m nsogbu. Nneche kedu ka ya bụ nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Mazi Kanu ga-esizi wee gọrọwa isi onwe ya, ma ọ bụrụgodị na ọ sị na ya ga-apụtazi wee gọrọwa isi onwe ya, ebe ha bụ ndị ọrụ DSS na-ekweghịzi ka ndị ọkaiwu ya bịa ya nso. Kedu ihe nke ahụ pụtara? Amaghị m. Mana ihe niile m mara ebe ahụ bụ na isi sekpu ntị ihe a niile na-eme ugbu a bụ maka na Mazi Nnamdi Kanu bụ onye Igbo. Ma ihe kpatakwaranụ eji eme ya otu ahụ maka na ọ bụ onye Igbo bụ ụdị ọnọdụ ndị ahụ anyị kpọrọ ndị ọchịchị anyị na ndị ndu anyị n'ala Igbo dowere anyị, n'ihi na ha na-achọ pawa, n'ihi na ha na-achọ pozishọn. Mana ihe m nwekwara ikwu bụ otu ihe ahụ m na-ekwukwa kamgbe okwu a na-adọtị bụ ndị Igbo ka anyị werekwa n'ehihie chụwa ewu ojii a tupu chi ejie. Ọ ga-enyekwa anyị nsogbu mgbe chi jiri. Ka anyị marakwa na otu anyị si azọ ihe anyị nwere mgbe oge ka dị. Maka na Bekee kwuru okwu sị, you will never know the value of what you have until you lose it. Mana Chukwu ekwela anyị ilụzụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ndị Igbo ka anyị tetekwanụ n'ụra, ka anyị mara na ihe abụghị okwu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu na federal gọọmenti, ka anyị mara na ihe a bụ okwu gbasara ndị Igbo na federal gọọmenti. Ọ dị mma ka njedebegodi ebe a. Gị onye na-egere akụkọ ụwa m, ịmara etu esi eme ya, denyere ebumnuche gị, otu isi hụ ya bụ ihe nke kiriri ugbu a na ngalaba okwu, ka anyị mara uche gị, n'ihi na uche onye adịghị ya njọ. Daalụkwa gị onye na-eso eburu anyị sonye. Ekelekwa m gị onye asị gị jide ka iji, onye asị ya jide ka o ji, ịmara na nke o ji kacha mma. Ekpere m bụ na Chineke nna ga na-anọnyere gị ọpụ gị na mbata gị, na-etinyere gị aka n'ezi ihe niile nke ị na-eme. Gị onye taa bụkwanụ mbụ ị na-ahụ ihe onyonyo anyị, asị gị nnọọ. Onye gị na ya ka nọkwa bụ 042 Solex, onye akụkọ ụwa n'iru akwụkwọ efere mba ụwa. Ya mere ọ bụrụ na ka m mere dị gị mma n'obi, nwanne biko, ọ bụ na Facebook na Instagram ka na-ahụ onyonyo pịara m folo, ọ bụ na YouTube ka na-ekiri ya bụ ihe onyonyo pịara m sọskraịb, ya na mgbịrịgba ya n'akụkụ, ka ime ike na-enweta ihe onyonyo ndị ọzọ m ga na-ewetara gị n'ọdịnihu. Igbo ndị ọma njem ọnụ, Igbo mụrụ nze m ọzọ, ekelekwa m unu wee na-asị na ọ ga na-adịrị unu niile mma o. Ise ngwanụ tụsawara m ihe onyonyo a, na-atụsara m ya bụ ihe onyonyo na-apịrị maka na share button. Ya mara gị mma onye nke m. Udo dịrị unu.